with us. I know everybody kind of cross trains at several positions at once, and you want all of your receivers to know all of the positions. But can you just tell us who's working at X, who's working at Z and H, and kind of give us a rundown there?
I don't know. Am I supposed to do that? I kind of like that no one knows right now. I would say that we are cross-training. I would say that guys are being put in multiple positions, not in just one position. But I would say that for the most part, what you guys probably saw in the spring is probably about the same as it is now. But, if anything, we've learned anything at times, it's about being multiple. It's about being versatile. And so, we have a lot of, I guess, quote unquote, contingent plans. And then at the end of the day, we're always trying to find a way to get the best players on the field, So it's not about that position, and say, hey, best players play. And obviously that's that can change, from an availability standpoint, week to week, injuries and other dynamics. But we feel pretty good on the way these guys are working and the expectations that come with being versatile.
What has allowed Jameson Williams to kind of, I believe, move into that top group? They mentioned him as up there with Chris Olave and Garrett Wilson. What has made him give him that jump?
Well, I'd say he's a year older. I would say that he has an opportunity to build a portfolio over time. He'll even tell you he could do better than he currently is, and that mindset's really important. He's trained well. He's had a great off season. Academics are coming up. All of that plays a part. And again, I think the body of work has now continued to compile, and we have ways to go. But I think he's doing a good job in that light. And I think that he's not the only guy, but he's doing a good job.
Next up, Dan Hope with 11 Warriors and Austin Ward on deck. Dan?
Brian, you guys have already taken the black stripes off free of a freshman receivers. So, I imagine that's a good sign for how they're doing. In terms of, their playing time, if one of those guys was to emerge as one of your three best receivers, would you have any qualms about, putting them in the starting lineup week one, or is it just kind of whoever's the best guy for week one?
Yeah, I think that, there's multiple conversations. I think that anytime guys are out there playing, it's not always just about, what I think, although it's probably the majority of it, but Coach Day and the rest of the offensive staff with Coach Wilson will be a big part of that. But at the end of the day, the film doesn't lie. Guys that earn it, they earn it. Nothing's given. And we'll kind of, keep approaching it that way. Always want the best guys on the field. But I can't emphasize enough, being able to play multiple roles and understand concepts, not just your position, will be very important this year, probably more than ever. So whether it be on special teams, rushing a punt or holding up a punt or changing, being a gunner now, or whether it be on offense, I think, in defense. So, I think at the end of the day, a lot of the cream will rise to the crop, and you have to be able to play multiple positions no matter where on the field.
And you talked about Chris and Jameson both being in that top group. I know they both played that Z position before. Do you have a preference to keep those guys both at that Z role, or do you have any issues at all with moving one of them to X if that gets them both on the field?
I have no issues moving anybody to any position if it gets the right people on the field. So again, we're still Ohio State. We still have a lot of guys that are not just in the first, second, third, fourth guy. We're always trying to be at least two deep, if not more. I'd argue that we'd probably be closer to three deep than ever. Again, it's a lot of kudos to Coach Mick and the staff and Coach Day's, our culture here and the expectations of which we try to uphold day in and day out. So no qualms with moving anybody anywhere if they're able to play at a high capacity, a high level at different spots.
Thanks, Brian.
Yep.
Next up, Austin Ward with Lettermen Row and Bill Rabinowitz on deck. Austin?
Brian, I think right when you guys got back, maybe in August, there were a picture or two of Cam Babb out there and running routes and making a catch. After everything he's been through, where is he at physically, and how much could he maybe help your group this year?
Yeah, I think Cam Babb is a special individual. Anytime he's a around the team or in the room or on the field, he's going to bring a dynamic that is special. I think that, he's a great young man. He's a great football player, an even better young man. And I think that we're blessed to have him here. Great to see him out there catching footballs, making plays. Yeah, I'm very excited to see what his future holds.
And for you guys at your position specifically, when the pads come on, how is that different than what you get to do one-on-one or 7-on-7 that you've got to do over the last 6 weeks or so?
Yeah, I mean, right now, like Coach Combs said, I'm sick of all this basketball BS on the field. So once we put pads on, it actually becomes football. So we're looking forward to that. We're looking forward to kind of that marking. Really, I think the next step in progression, taking this thing up to another level, the closest we've been to playing in a long time. So it is special. It is a big day moving forward, and we're looking forward to that day here soon.
Next up, Bill Rabinowitz with the Columbus Dispatch and Bill Landis on deck. Bill?
Hi, Brian. Along those same lines, what do you think you're going to find out tomorrow and in the days after that you couldn't find out without being in pads and now being full contact? And how much full contact do you think you'll have starting tomorrow?
I think we'll have a good amount. I think we'll probably build throughout the week and over the next couple of weeks. But what will we find out? I would say the best team is always the team that blocks the best, tackles the best, and is the toughest. So it's really hard to get any of those without pads. I think starting Wednesday, we'll really get a feel for what kind of football team we are currently and maybe where we need to go and what we need to focus on. But like I said, I think it's the closest have become to playing real football. And again, the focus being on growth over time and making sure these guys are good and healthy and safe and doing it the right way and not be in a rush to get where we're going to be. But we'll have a good plan when it comes to that. But again, very exciting because we're throwing pads on. We're playing some real football.
And about Chris Olave, until the Big Ten reversed its decision, it looked like his last play as a Buckeye would be the last play in the Fiesta Bowl. The fact that it's not going to be, that he has a chance to have another season, do you sense in him just how much he's looking forward to this year? And what have you seen in terms of his growth?
Yeah, I think that, Chris was always on the side of being a Buckeye and graduating. The talk of leaving, I don't think was anywhere inside this building. It was more outside the building. And I think that, his ability and desire to do something great here, be a part of something great here, and really get his degree was not emphasized more than ever than after his last game down in Arizona. So really excited for him. I think there's definitely a lot of challenges for him, just learning, become more of a leader and grow. You're still talking about a guy that was, going into is in his third year and coming out of Cali. I don't think he would have thought maybe in 3 years I'm going to have a decision on whether I'm going to be at Ohio State or leaving early. So his growth has been phenomenal. Really, as a person, I love coaching him. We love having him in the room, and I'm really excited that he gets a chance to play, this fall and not waiting further down the road to do that. So he's doing a great job. He's maturing. Again, biggest focus being leadership in the room, and I think he's really embodied that and has done a great job.
All right. Thanks, Brian.
Yep.
Next up, Bill Landis with The Athletic and Nathan Baird on deck. Bill?
Hey, Brian, you talked about Jameson earlier, and I think we all got a really good feel for his speed last year, especially in that long touchdown that he had. How was he built on top of that sort of, I don't know, again, that looks like an elite trait that he has, but how was he taking that and kind of built on that?
Yeah, I think developing as a route runner, I think developing as far as a mindset and understanding of what he's trying to get accomplished. I think, trying to operate in a world of what if I wasn't that fast, and if you're able to embody that approach, a really special player can come out of that. He already has a physicality that a lot of receivers don't have. He loves the contact piece, always making sure with speed and with blocking that we're under control and we're in, operating with purpose is always something we're going to continue to work on at any level. But I think he's really embodied that. I think he really understands, being crafty and really wanting to be some of the best, ever in his position and really working that way. And again, I think a lot of it too for him, may be organizing off the field stuff so he's better on the field. It's just being a a younger athlete and maturing into an older athlete. So he's had a great amount of growth. He still has a way to go, but I think he's just not trying to rely purely on his ability to run, but also operate in a world where what if I couldn't run and still get really good at his craft.
And I feel like every offseason we wonder about what kind of role Demario might end up having. Just based off what you've seen over these last few weeks, how do you anticipate him fitting into the receiver rotation? And do you see any tailback snaps in his future?
Yeah, I think Coach Day always has a great plan when it comes to guys with versatile skill sets. And I think that he's definitely one of those guys that has that. And I think that from a week-to-week standpoint, how we could take advantage of those matchups that he provides will be pretty important.
Next up, Nathan Baird with Cleveland.com and Spencer Holbrook on deck. Nathan?
Hey, Brian. When we talked to you back in the spring, you were pretty enthusiastic about the concept of Garrett moving and being more of a slot guy this year. Just curious if the offseason and the way that it developed, did it affect that transition at all? And what are you seeing for him right now as far as growing into that position more?
I think he's done a pretty good job. I think his ability to continue to grow will be most important. Understanding that week one should look like getting a lot of feedback.
Yeah.
Can you go mute, Jerry? It might help.
I want to turn that down, the external one down. All right, sorry about that, Coach.
Okay, is that any better? So, yeah, I think that at the end of the day, I think when you have limited time, it probably did have an effect. I think we've done a pretty good job. He's done a very good job with not allowing it to show up too often. I think if anything, we'd probably be further down the road, with guys, whether it be a younger athlete just coming in or whether it be a guy that's changed positions. He's not the only one. And I think that, the more time, the better. But I think he's done a great job. I think that at the end of the day, what we talked about earlier, being versatile will be the most important. His ability to be outside for a full year last year, then move inside this year, gives him a skill set and a general understanding of the offense to do either. So proud of where he's at. He knows he's got to keep pushing further. A lot of more nuances being inside, but I think he's handled it a pretty good job.
Next up, Spencer Holbrook with Lettermen Row and Joey Kaufman on deck. Spencer?
Hey, Brian. What has Jackson Smith-Njigba shown you that makes you think that he'll be ready to contribute right off the bat in week one?
I think what has he shown me? I think that, at the end of the day, I think the biggest thing that we're looking for guys to be on the field is consistency. I think he's done a pretty good job. I think a lot of guys have done a really good job with that. I think that at the end of the day, those that, we can trust to do their job. If you're on the field, we really don't have any worries about you making certain plays or being able to make the play. It's more about, when you don't get the ball, are you in great position? Do we feel you in the run game? Are you getting your job done when you're, at the point of attack? And I think that, roles that are earned on special teams, all of these things will play a part. I think that consistency is more important than ever. I think the ability to not make silly mistakes, as we see on Saturdays and Sundays, is more prevalent than ever. So I think guys that are the most consistent at this point will probably see themselves, on the field a lot more and being worked in certain ways. I think there's a big push of trust, and I think that we've always had great trust around here, but more times than ever, with how much we've been removed from our current situation, that'll play a big part.
Next up, Joey Kaufman with the Columbus Dispatch and Jeremy Birmingham on deck. Joey?
Brian, obviously with spring practices and some of training camp being limited, you maybe didn't get to see as many reps from guys like Garrett Wilson in the slot. But I guess, do you have any sense on what's the biggest advantage you would provide there?
For Garrett Wilson?
The slot, yeah.
Yeah, I think that having a guy that's very dynamic in the inside is very important. I think a guy that's really smart, though, his ability to identify space and work around linebackers, and also be tough enough to block linebackers and be able to work in space, but also take the seam is really important. I think the guy inside, more than maybe in any other position, maybe be asked to do more things. But I think again, it's just what do you want to do there defensively? Who do you want to put on him? Do you want to put a linebacker in there and then have him have to guard him, or do you want to bring a nickel player in and then you get to say you're tougher than him when running the football and be able to cover him? So it's just a different animal. I think it provides a game plan advantage for us, but at the end of the day, it comes down to our ability to execute and really operate at a high level with consistency. So I think it provides something, but how much, time will tell.
Next up, Jeremy Birmingham with Lettermen Row and Colin Hass-Hill on deck. Jeremy?
Hey, Brian, I know you guys are probably getting sick of hearing and being asked about the freshman class, but as 4 guys that all enrolled early that had their spring kind of taken away from them, I'm curious if you would just be willing to break down where they're at now individually in their development, but especially with Mookie, since he missed his senior year of high school. How has he been impacted by the loss of development time?
Well, I'll start with Mookie. I think Mookie, is much further along than I even tell him and anticipated. He is removed from football from a senior year. He did play a lot of running back in high school, but his natural approach to receiver play, and it's funny, we'll do some drills sometimes and I'll be coaching up on it, and it might not be quite right, but they don't just run out there and just do it, and it's perfect. So it's funny his natural ability to just play football and feel space, and he does things that you really can't even coach. So I think Mookie's doing a phenomenal job. I think that you're kind of hitting on it. Where is each guy at, and what are they going to do, and what are they? The biggest thing that I try to have a conversation about with these athletes about is that it's okay to share goals, but don't think you're going to share paths. Everyone's going to have a different path. Everyone, different guys need different things, and to sit around and compare yourself to your peers, and most lights doesn't help you. It's not about what they're doing. It's about what you're doing, and understanding that our end goal can be the same, but the path in which I get there can be different, and not being frustrated. And social media is crazy, and the expectations. Again, we could talk about expectations forever, but usually, most times the expectations that are on you usually aren't given to yourself. Usually someone places them on you and you allow them to be on you. So it's all those dynamics. They did lose a spring. At least they didn't lose it. They lost it maybe in a physical manner, being on the field. But we spent a lot of time on Zooms, and we tried to capitalize and maximize our time, being apart, and gives us an opportunity to be with our families and focus on academics and really get prepared in a different light. That's basically how I think we took it. And I think at this point, we've done a really good job to set ourselves up for success. And now it just comes down to just maximizing the opportunities when they come to us.
Appreciate it. Thanks, man.
Yep.
Next up, Colin Hass-Hill from 11 Warriors and Tim May on deck. Colin?
Brian, I know that you talked a lot about, what some of the reasons why you want to put Garrett in the slot and give him some of that opportunity, but just given the way that you've used KJ Hill and Paris Campbell in recent years, was some of it also that you've just seen the amount of targets that they've been able to get from that position, and just imagining what Garrett can do with maybe increased opportunities out of that spot too?
I think everything was a part of the evaluation, but I think we pride ourselves on the ability to scheme up any play we want and have anybody in that position. But I think that having a dynamic person in there, I view Garrett as a dynamic player who can do lots of things. We can hand him off things on sweeps, and we can also have him go down the seam or run a corner. So I think that position more than anything is developing more and more into a wide receiver position. It is not necessarily maybe a hybrid kind of thing to it. It's really like you need to be a great wide receiver first. And I think that Garrett, again, being a smart, savvy, got a lot of good wiggle to him when it comes to releases and operating space, I think he's a great fit for that space. Chris Olave in there would be terrible. All right. But no, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. But I think that, Garrett brings a different dynamic to that. And so we're excited to watch it develop. Chris was standing beside me, by the way. That was a joke.
We're going to have one more set of questions for Coach Hartline, and then we're going to bring in Chris Olave next. Next up will be Tim May with the Tim May podcast and Lettermen Row. And Mark Snyder will be the first to ask Chris Olave a question. Tim, you're up.
Appreciate it. 3 quickies, Brian. Number one, do you think doing all these Zooms is giving up people a propensity to look cross-eyed? What's your take on that?
I'm more confused by the fact that there's literally no one near me and I have a mask on.
Yeah.
And that's probably my biggest one. But, my understanding is, I'll keep myself. You don't look cross-eyed. It's good to see the inside of your car.
Thank you. It's my truck, actually. Thank you very much.
Truck? What kind of truck you got?
Tundra. I've been doing a little work. You know what I mean? Number two, you talked about this a little bit, but I was wondering, as the coach of this wide receiver core,
sure,
you've got different guys at different levels coming and going. The veterans, you got Jameson Williams, you'd like to see stepping up and stuff. How tough is that to kind of ride herd on that? I mean, to keep up where everybody is and where they could get to.
Yeah, I think, it is a dynamic, I mean, you're teaching guys at different levels, but I think that at the end of the day, if we hold a high standard and we ask them to meet that standard, these guys have they raised their ability, and we got to catch yourself on maybe saying, but he's this, but he's a young guy. If you give excuses, they fall to that, and I think that we'll never apologize for holding a high standard, and I think that what we do a great job of is in the room. If my message isn't clear, Garrett Wilson and Chris Olave, some of the older guys, will maybe put it in a language that I'm just missing the beat on, and they'll explain it to them in a way for them to understand it. So I think we do a great job working as a family and as a group. And I try to be spot on with the communication, but sometimes they help clear it up for me. And I think that's been really productive.
And one other thing, how much is the competition in that room? It appears to be a deep room. Do you agree with that? And then number two, how much is that helping bring some guys along maybe faster than in normal circumstances?
Well, there's many dynamics to that, and I agree with it wholeheartedly. To me, it was always the mindset of, if I want to make more money, I'm going to surround myself with people that make more money than me. If I want to be smarter, I'm going to hang out with smarter people. So if I want to be the best football player I can be, especially a receiver, I want to be surrounded by some of the best receivers in the country. And I think that's been a big part of it all. I mean, at the end of the day, these guys, they do have goals, but nearsighted goals is, I want to start at Ohio State. And if it's easy to do so, from day to day, week to week, how really hard do you have to go to kind of achieve that goal? And then, so it's just a battle, I would say, day in and day out of just, friendly competition side by side. Again, and not everybody's great at everything, but there's somebody in this room that can do something I don't do. If I can learn from that, I can add that to my game. And what I will tell you too is that we have some non-scholarship athletes that do some really, really good things. And there's probably nothing more uncomfortable than, being, quote unquote, this or that, and then seeing a non-scholarship athlete go out there and ball out and realize you better freaking get your butt going too. So there's lots of dynamics. They learn from each other. And I think that from a day-to-day standpoint, we have great competition, both, across from us, but also in our room.
Is CJ helping you, by the way, this year? I mean, CJ Saunders, or
CJ is helping the Buckeyes. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Great. Coach, thank you very much for your time. Really appreciate it. Have a great practice today. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Jerry. Christian.
Guys, we're going to, members of the media, what I heard right there, I'm going to quote a little bit of Nancy Sinatra, and the beat goes on. So listen to that song today when you get a chance. What we're going to do right now is we've got two of our student athletes. Chris Olave is here, and also Garrett Wilson is here as well. We're going to just run down this list as well, and we're going to open up with Mark Snyder, and then have Jared Smalley on deck, and then we're going to work on getting Garrett Wilson in the view as well. And you can thank you again, Coach, and you can address your questions to either one. So at this point, I know we have. Looks like we both guys ready there, guys. We just gotta talk.
Yeah, we good.
Okay, we're going to go ahead and open it up with questions from Mark Snyder from Press Pros with Jared Smalley on deck. Mark?
Chris, what could be going through your mind and the minds of
they just
your
started.
receiver?
Tomorrow.
Ohio State just got nationally ranked. You're watching other teams play. You didn't know if you were going to play. What's going through your mind, and how do you try not to go too fast to catch up?
We're just taking it day by day. First, it was tough on us when our season got canceled, but when it got reinstated, we kind of got back together, and it's a process. So, and we know we played late October, so we're just trying to prepare day in and day out, and just look at the bigger picture instead of stressing about it. So that's how we're taking it.
Next up, Jared Smalley with WCMH Channel 4 and Tony Girdman on deck. And feel free to ask questions for either Chris or Garrett at this time. Jared?
Thanks, Jerry. Chris, this is for you. Coach Hartline spoke about this a few minutes ago about your progress since the Fiesta Bowl, what you went through. Can you just walk us through it in your own words, what it was like to get over that game, what you did, how you turned the corner, how it will make you better? Can you just walk us through what the months have been like since then?
Hey, Mike, if they need to get dressed or something.
It was tough for me, especially for me. I care so much about this team, this university. The first couple of months was tough. I don't think I still got over it. I was going through it for like 4 to 5 months, especially during quarantine. Without that free time, I kind of, when I found myself getting bored and I was going through it, I just went to go work out. So I found myself working out 2 to 3 times a day, and just trying to take my mind off things and trying to play video games, hang around my brothers, hang around my family. But it was tough. And when we got back, I just wanted to try to get better every day and try to spread that energy throughout the receiver room and try to be the best room in the nation. So, I don't think I got over it still, and I still got that chip on my shoulder, and I want to show the world. So,
Well, Chris, every athlete has difficult moments. Anybody who's ever played on a high stage knows what that's like. Did anybody reach out to you in those days and months after in support and getting you to that point where you were ready to turn the page and basically be a better player for it?
It was a couple people that reached out, a couple of the coaches, a couple athletes from different schools, but I just stayed around my family and try to receive their energy. My mom and my dad were there the most. My brothers are there too, but I just wanted to just try to get through it and just try to get better throughout the day, throughout the days, and throughout the week. So.
Next up, Tony Girdman with Buckeye Scoop and Joey Kaufman on deck. Tony?
Garrett, your move to the slot, I'm wondering, did you how much have you been looking forward to this once it was explained to you what you were doing? How has that transition gone? How much did not having spring hurt?
I'd say it wasn't something I was looking forward to. It was just whatever, coach wanted me to do, whatever was best for the team. I was able to do that. So it started in the spring, and I'd still say I knew a lot because it's just a whole different position, all the intricacies of playing in the slot and stuff like that. But I feel like I'm getting used to it every day. So I'm just worried about getting better every day at the position, understanding coverages, stuff like that. So I'm definitely excited, to get in the slot, be a little bit more involved, stuff like that. So.
Next up, Joey Kaufman with the Columbus Dispatch and Dan Hope on deck. Joey?
Yeah, this is for Garrett. Garrett, have you studied any particular players in the slot or some film or somebody that you look at as sort of maybe modeling your game after, or somebody to kind of learn from as far as playing that position?
Being able to see KJ last year, that was huge for me, and being able to learn from him. He's as good of a slot as he gets. But I'd say as far as NFL players, I love Devontae Adams. So, the thing with Devontae Adams is he can play inside and outside. So, be able to have that versatility, that's something that I want to be able to bring to the table. So, I say I watch Devontae Adams closely, Stephon Diggs, players like that.
And has film been more important for you to watch this offseason? Because obviously you're learning a new spot on the field and you're not getting the normal amount of reps that you would normally get in spring practice and really on in August camp.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot more film to go with it, just understanding the coverages. It's a lot less one-on-one routes and a lot more, finding zones and stuff like that. So being able to read coverages and identify that before the play starts. And I'd say that's a lot of things I got to, work on and get better at through film. So I've been working on it.
Next up, Dan Hope with 11 Warriors and Austin Ward on deck. Dan?
Hey, Chris, I think it was back in January, there was a tweet that said you were like the 10th best receiver in college football, and you quote tweeted it and said, not good enough. What do you have to do to be that best receiver in college football that you think you can be?
I feel like I gotta just keep getting better every day and trying to help my team the best way I can. I feel like when I put the team first, the individual things will come. So I try to go out there and work my hardest on special teams and try to contribute as a receiver. I feel like it's gonna pay off when I put the team first. So.
And now that you're that most experienced guy in the wide receiver room, how do you feel like you've been able to
Say that again.
You're the most experienced guy in the receiver room now, so how do you feel like you've been able to step up as a leader?
Just trying to go out there and try to bring that energy every day and just try to lead by example. Not really a big talker, but when I go out there and work hard and just try to put my foot down and just keep going when things are going wrong and just trying to lead by example, like I said. That's how I lead. So.
Thanks, Chris.
Next up, Austin Ward with Lettermen Row and Bill Rabinowitz on deck. Austin?
Hey, Chris, I know it sucks that we're giving you a lot of these questions about the Fiesta Bowl and that play. I know you don't like reliving it, but when you talk about going back to work and extra workouts and whatever else you did to prepare, how often did you and Justin talk about that play and maybe what could have been done different, or did you talk about it with him at all?
We never really talked about it. I think we talked about it once, but since then we moved forward and we're just trying to get better every day. Justin been one of the hardest workers in the building since we've been back, and I'm up there with him. So we're just trying to take a step forward and show the nation what we could do this year.
And when you think about it, specifically, you said you think about it a lot. I mean, is it just a matter of not breaking the route off, or what? When you relive it, what led to that breakdown?
It's just a bunch of what ifs. Like, what if I didn't do that, or what if we didn't call that play? But it's in the past, and I learned from it. I didn't. It's just add another chip on my shoulder, and I'm ready to play. So.
Thanks, Chris.
These will be the last two questions for these student athletes, last two individuals to question, rather. Next up, Bill Rabinowitz with the Columbus Dispatch and Pat Murphy on deck. Bill?
Yeah, the first one's for either Garrett or Chris. How much are you looking forward to having contact practice tomorrow to getting that first hit?
I know personally I am, because the defense kind of gets the benefit of the doubt, all the benefits of not hitting when we have practice on offense. So I feel like they get bailed out on some tackles, things like that. So I'm excited for them to actually make some plays, get more competitive, stuff like that.
And Chris, what about you?
I'm looking forward to it. I know we ain't put pads on in so long, but just to get back in shape and like you said, put the pads back on and start contact and start real football. We're excited. So.
And Chris, you said, or Brian Hartline said that, if this season had been canceled, there was a lot of speculation that that would have been the last play, that you wouldn't have, you're ready for the NFL. He said, well, that's all talk outside the building. Inside the building, the assumption is he was coming back. Can you address that? Would you have come back if the season had been canceled?
Yeah, I would have came back. That's a guarantee. I feel like I couldn't leave as the last play. So I would have came back, but we got the season reinstated and we ready to go. So.
All right, thanks, Chris.
And the last question for these two student athletes comes from Pat Murphy and 24/7 Sports. Pat?
Hey, Chris, you've spent the last 2 seasons playing at Ohio Stadium and in the Big Ten. I'm curious, I know you guys had the practice the other day in the empty stadium. What is it like? What do you envision it'll be like this year with no fans in the stands? And how does that change things from a wide receiver perspective?
It's different. It's definitely different. I know a lot of players feed off the crowd energy, and but we're gonna have to bring our own energy. We bring it a lot in practice and offense, defense. When we make plays, we kind of get hyped for each other, and it's all over the place. So I feel like we'll be ready when that time comes, but we just got to keep preparing and be the best on October 24th.
All right, gentlemen, thank you very much for your time today. Really appreciate having you on, and have a great practice today. Folks, we'll bring in Demario McCall and Jameson Williams here momentarily.
Appreciate you guys. Have a good day.
All right, folks, we got Demario and Jameson seated over there, and we are going to open up with Bill Landis from The Athletic with Spencer Holbrook on deck. Bill?
Hey, Jameson, your name has come up quite a few times just talking with different coaches and your teammates. I'm just wondering what you think you've done over the last few weeks or months to kind of become a guy that's starting to turn some heads a little bit.
I feel like I've been more focused and feel like I got a whole lot better with everything, like in the classroom, on the field. So it worked both ways. I just feel like I was more focused and got a whole lot better with everything.
We got to see your speed last year. That showed up for sure. How else do you think you've grown on the field coming off your first season?
I've been trying to actually put NFL wide receivers game together. Like I've been trying to take some from here, some from there, and put it all to my game. So I feel like it will all come together soon, and it should show during the season this year.
Next up, Spencer Holbrook from Lettermen Row with Colin Hass-Hill on deck. Spencer?
Jameson, what's it been like taking reps with Justin Fields and having him as your quarterback for a second year? Because last year you guys were probably still developing chemistry and that. And what's it like to have him back for a second year?
To me, honestly, it feels great because like during high school, I never really had a great quarterback like Justin. I feel like Justin is like top-notch QB, and he does some great things on the field. So it's great kind of playing with Justin.
All right, next up, Colin Hass-Hill with 11 Warriors and Joey Kaufman on deck. Colin?
Hey, Jameson, you came in the same recruiting class as Garrett. So I was just wondering, what have you seen from him when he moves inside to the slot that you think might make him dangerous out of that position?
I think Garrett should be a dangerous receiver anywhere, inside or outside. Garrett, from the inside, I think we should. Wait, can you ask that question again, please?
What do you think that would make him dangerous from the inside spot rather than the outside spot?
Pretty like his game could work inside or outside if you ask me. So I feel like that was a good move. His routes is pretty dangerous. Like he has real great routes. So I think that would be good too.
And I wanted to ask Demario if we've talked a lot about over the years of how Ohio State can get the best out of you, and I was just wondering, like from your perspective, what do you think that it is the best either position to play or way to unleash you as a playmaker that maybe in past years you haven't really figured out a way to make that happen?
I mean, personally, I just feel like I'm an athlete. I mean, I can play in the backfield. Over the years, I became a way better receiver. I just feel like me and the slot, we create better matchups where we win most of the time. So I would say it's not.
What's going on? What's that? Yeah. All right, you guys good there on that? Sorry about that. I don't know what's coming. Everybody's pointing at me, and it's not always me there. Next up, Joey Kaufman with the Columbus Dispatch and Jeremy Birmingham on deck. Joey?
Mara, do you have any sort of, I guess, going into this season, any personal goals or anything you're looking to achieve on the field, particularly?
Personally, I mean, just find my role on offense where everything close. I mean, yeah. Yeah, so just find my role in the offense where, I can get the ball, they get the ball to me. And that's just, I could be anywhere, out the backfield, every receiver, special teams. Just role player.
All right, next up, Jeremy Birmingham with Lettermen Row and Tim May on deck. Jeremy?
Hey, Jameson, for you guys, you St. Louis guys, I'm wondering how important it was in the last year for helping Mookie get adapted and back to feeling like part of a football team after missing his senior year of high school, and how helpful it was for you to know him coming when he got into Ohio State.
Could you repeat that, please?
I'm asking really about Mookie Cooper and the relationship you guys had before he arrived at Ohio State, knowing that he missed his senior year of high school. What have you seen out of him as he's developing into an Ohio State football player? And are you surprised by how quickly he's picked it up?
Yeah, most likely. Well, yeah, I am, because he's grown a lot. And actually, I've been knowing Moose since like 8 years old, 9 years old. So we grew up together, and like when he got to, we went to different high schools, so I didn't see him that much in high school. When I got to Ohio State, I could tell like starting going as a team. It was a lot of growth with Mookie, because like it's the same thing with me. I got to college and had to grow a little, so it's the same thing. It's like.
Was there any like specific advice you had given to Mookie when he got on campus about the adjustment and what he should expect, or anything like that?
Not much, nothing really.
Thanks, man.
All right, next up, Tim May with the Tim May podcast and Mark Snyder on deck. Tim?
Yeah, this question is for Jameson. Jameson, what is it like to have great speed, and what is it like to try to figure out other ways to be an effective player without just relying on your speed all the time? Coach Hartline said that's one of the things that you definitely have improved on over the last year. But from your perspective, what is it like to have to learn maybe other ways of doing things?
I kind of feel like my speed is an advantage with the receiver game, because like you can freeze DBs, like they think something else is coming, but the speed, like the attacks, it can be real different, like different moves and everything. And could you repeat the second question, please?
In other words, what is it like, to basically not just rely on your speed to get other fundamentals going for you? Meaning, you know what I mean? Like a boxer, you don't want to just rely on an uppercut all the time. You want to have other things going for you.
I feel like it goes well to not rely on my speed, because I really don't rely on my speed unless it's kind of go ball, like get separation. I really try to focus on more of the route part, because it's more route running with the receiver, not more like speed.
I got you. And for either one of you guys, where's the biggest improvement you've seen from Justin Fields compared to this time a year ago? What just jumps out at you about his game and where he's taking it?
I feel like coming off of last year, he's more hungry. Like he wants it more. Like everything with Justin is different. Like he's become more of a football gym rat. Everything around football just turned up a notch since last year with Justin.
Demario, you agree? Demario McCall?
Yeah, I agree. I say his most improvement is he's got a lot smarter in decision making. I'll say that's just knowing the picking like this is just knowing the defense is knowing where you go with it. Look to safety, I just feel like he got a lot more smarter in his decision making.
Is he trying to make both of you guys vegans now? Is he trying to convert y'all to vegans?
Nah. Nah.
I'm just joking. Thanks, man.
No problem.
All righty, guys, we're gonna end this call with one more set of questions from Bill Rabinowitz of the Columbus Dispatch. Bill?
Yeah, that's for Demario. Could you kind of assess your career and the context of how important it is for you to make this year a special one, and how determined are you to carve out a role, even if it's kind of a, kind of all over the map role?
I mean, first thing first, I'm gonna do what I gotta do, just to make the team better and get the team wins. But for me personally, I mean, I just wanna, go out top, and our goal is to get the Big Ten championship first, compete for national. But other than that, just play the role.
Okay, it's kind of hard to hear you. How frustrating has it been to have gotten to this point and haven't been able to establish yourself with a specific role?
Very frustrating.
And does that add to your determination to make this year special?
Most definitely.
Great. Demario, Jameson, thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate having you out here today, and go have a great practice. Thanks a lot, guys.
Hey.
No problem.
Yeah, guys, we won't try the the side-by-side dueling computers again. We just had all these guys come out here all at once. I didn't realize that was going to happen, so apologize for that. And, we'll keep trying. We'll keep grinding.
If you just move the camera or that one computer back a couple feet and have them, 5 feet apart with one mic, you can still do that. But having two audio outputs and inputs is what's causing all that feedback.
Or just put them in different rooms.
Well, we can't. We can't go into different rooms, guys. We're extremely severely limited as to what we can do, where we can go, how we can do this. We won't have them side by side. If they're farther apart, then they're not in front of the backdrop, and that's a little bit of a need as well for us. So on Thursday, when we do linebackers, we will just make it a point to only have one guy up answering questions at a time, and we'll do our best to get as many guys as we can for you. So outside of this last 5 or 6 minutes, I hope everything else went well for everyone. And I'll shoot you guys an email on either tomorrow evening or Thursday morning early about what time we can expect linebackers. I kind of like this afternoon time if we can get